Hi everyone, and this is superhero video for the week. Now, a couple things came out this week. We have the villain for Black Panther that came out. We have a couple other things noted. Possible future release date for the new Batman movie. But I was just I was at work yesterday, and I was thinking about things as I was doing my things at work. And an idea popped into my mind, and at first I thought, I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. I mean, they're going to keep Affleck around for a while. But then I actually thought in the continuity of the comics and the continuity of the comics and how things have played out in the story and where we possibly might go with this DC universe. And then the thought kind of became, no, this isn't as far-fetched as I thought. So that's what the video is. In the video, as you saw by the title, is could Ben Affleck's Batman die in the DC universe? Now let's break it down. We know that Ben Affleck's Batman's an older Batman. He's in his 40s. I don't know how old he's supposed to be depicted in the actual movie, but Ben Affleck himself is in his early 40s. And if we were to go by how he's probably depicted in the DC universe, he's probably depicted as his early to mid 40s. We know he's grislier. We know he's more like a war vet, basically. We know he's more brutal. We know he also has killed people. And I believe that I actually will address that. And I'll actually address that later in the video, why that could actually play into Batman dying and things along those lines. But we also know by the end of BVS that he's trying to now atone for what he's done. Basically, his action. He's trying to atone for his actions, do right by Superman, protect the Earth. So the question that becomes is that, and there's another question. In fact, I don't know if I'll throw it into the title of this, but I'll bring it up when we get to it. Is that he's going to be going up against individuals far stronger than himself. He's going to go up against what's his name? What's that guy's name? The guy who we know is actually going to be like probably one of the main antagonists in Justice League, not Darkseid. Steppenwolf. That's it. Steppenwolf. We know Steppenwolf's going to be an apocalyptic being. We know Darkseid's going to come into fray. Probably Brainiac, maybe Mongol or something. We know that superpowered individuals that are going to be far more than Batman himself can handle on his own are going to show up. And we know he's getting a new batsuit to help him combat the fight a bit more on par with some of the superpowered beings, to help him at least along the way. But when you break it down, there's only so much a new batsuit can do. But and he's not going to die. Let's be clear. If he does die, which again we'll get to why he could die, he's not going to die anytime soon. He's not going to die. We're going to wait until at least Justice League Part 2 for him to bite the dust. Temporarily or permanently. Yeah, he's going to be in Justice League. He's going to have his own solo film. Maybe even another solo film. And Justice League. And if I think he dies, it's going to be in Justice League. And here's now going on to why I think why he could. I'm not saying he is, by the way. I'm going to say there's a chance. There's a possibility. And the reason I'm going to say that is this, is that in the comics, Batman has died. How many times has Batman died? I mean, the Darkseid one is what I'm really going to be referencing, but I know he's died actually once or more than once. And a lot of them are elsewhere stories, but Final Crisis is what I'm referencing right now. In Final Crisis, Batman is killed. He's actually sent through time, but he is more or less killed by Darkseid. He is killed by Darkseid by his Omega beams. Now, that being said, he also shoots Darkseid with a radiant bullet that poisons him and basically weakens him to the point where you can more or less say Batman killed Darkseid, because the Black Racer ends up taking him, and because he's so weak from radiant poisoning. But no, why is that possible? Well, one thing is that they've actually said we're going to address the fact that Batman has killed people. Batman was not sane at that point. Batman's technically never sane, but Batman snapped that. But we're going to be addressing that in future films, at least Justice League, probably future films. It would make sense that that would be addressed, but also the fact that this Batman's not necessarily afraid to use guns. Batman's always had a no-gun rule in the interpretation that most of us are aware of. He actually did use guns in his first iteration. We're not going to go there. However, in Final Crisis, he broke that no-gun rule. to take out Darkseid because he knew he couldn't, because he knew it was the only way. And he knew he wasn't going to come out of that scenario alive. So I theorize, mind you, that what if Batman, to atone for what he has done, because he knows he did right, he took life, and he's like, and that among all the other things that's gone on in his career is now haunting him and just eating away at his core. So to atone for it, he doesn't have the no gun rule at this point, but okay. On his Batmobile, he has no gun rule. If we actually look at what Batman has done, and in that dream sequence, the Nightmare Batman, but in the actual movie, Batman actually himself, besides his kryptonite gas pellet and the little tracking dart gun with his rifle, he never actually uses a gun against an opponent. You can make the argument against the KGBs, which, by the way, that was the KGBs, by the way, the Russian guy, when he's saving Martha. You can make the argument against that when he fires the guy's gun, but he's never carrying a gun as Batman. Like on his belt, he's never carrying a gun, sans the Nightmare sequence. But I can honestly see the point where obviously it's not going to kill Darkseid, because if they actually decide to take things from Final Crisis to the point where it's not going to be the thing that actually kills Darkseid, but it's going to severely weaken him, and then Superman and Flash come in and just beat Superman mostly. Superman comes in and beats the living hell out of him, and then the Flash comes, Black Racer's assuming they introduce the Black Racer, and he comes and takes that, and this assuming maybe the anti-life equation makes an appearance of some kind. I could honestly see that being a plausible scenario, and either reboot Batman, because maybe Affleck's contract's up, and reboot Batman by having him, and then possibly do like Blackest Night or something like that, which could bring back Zombie Batman, which is a clone actually. Bring him back, but you could, assuming Affleck's still willing to do it, because that's going to be 5 years down the line, I think, somewhere along there. Affleck could still be up for the role. Jackman's still doing Wolverine for his last one. He's almost 50. Tom Cruise still does the action movies. Robert Downey Jr. still Tony Stark. As long as Ben Affleck's willing to put in the effort to work out, I can still see him bring him back. Or if you feel you need to reboot Batman, reboot as a new actor, because there are people who didn't like Affleck's interpretation of Batman. And I've seen some people who are because they just don't like Affleck, which is fine, but, whatever. Or because of the interpretation they did of Batman. But the interpretation is not Affleck's fault. There's direction and story writing and scripts. So that's a possibility. But another possibility in that is since we're bringing up Batman dying and things that could kill Batman, him fighting a Darkseid, which would evidently lead to his death. Because that's the real way I would see him dying in the DC universe, is that atonement for what he's done, shooting Darkseid with a radiant bullet and then, biting it. I'm not certain they would completely do it because, if audience fan reaction to Batman actually legitimately dying on screen would be interesting. But could we see the Hellbat armor, the Hellbat suit, which was forged by the Justice League themselves in the heart of the sun, tested against Flash to withstand the Speed Force, to help him fight super beings that, otherwise, because they were worried for Batman's worried for Batman's safety. He's Batman, for God's sake, but understandably so. They forged it so he could fight on par with superpowered beings. He literally beat the snot out of Darkseid, Caliban, and a bunch of parademons on his own with the Hellbat armor. The Hellbat armor is hacked on many degrees. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but because it feeds off his metabolism and could kill him after long-term exposure. But because it's composed of voice-activated nanites, it can actually detaches. He can get rid of parts so it doesn't drain him as fast, and he can continue to wear it for a longer time. So, could we see the Hellbat? Because that is not as far-fetched as you may think. He had a suit of armor to fight Superman in. It was more for defense. But if he had the help of the Justice League, especially since Green Lantern's going to be introduced at some point, probably in the next Justice League movie. Not this Justice League, part 2. It's very possible that you could see some iteration of the Hellbat armor, and he could use that to go up against Darkseid, and we could see something along those lines play out, and then him still eventually, atoning for his sins and all that. So, could Batman die? I think there's actually, it's not a strong possibility because Batman's a moneymaker, and not granted, if they were to kill him, they would eventually have plans to bring him back. But that being said, Is it likely? No, I don't think it's likely. Is it possible? I think it is actually possible. It's not a very high possibility. Like right now, I wouldn't even put it at 10%. They'd do it. I'd put it like a 5%, like not impossible, like possible, but near impossible. Like it's so unlikely to happen just because of money making and the way studios work that I don't want to risk losing one of their title characters for a little while and have people just going, oh my god. But I don't discount it. I'd say it's anywhere between a 5 and 10% chance, but I'm putting it on the lower end, so like maybe 5 or 7%. It's possible, but I just don't think it's likely. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I'll be back in a little bit, actually with 2 pieces of videos. One actually on movie news, and one is my magic video for the week. So see you in a little bit. Later.